made a mistake of listening to a question that was asked correctly. She didn't mislead me. I misheard the question. I actually gave a pretty good answer to the question, but it was not the question she asked. And then you know,
then we know what happened.
and then it got bumpy. It got a little bumpy, but all is well now. Ship is stable. Here's the bigger question as it relates to, because the circumstances are different between. The world is radically different, and so the focus ought to be on knowing what you know now, Mr. President. Should you have kept 10,000 troops in Iraq, or 15,000, or 4,000? That's the better answer because of yesterday. Ramadi has now been taken over by ISIS. ISIS didn't exist when my brother was president. Al Qaeda in Iraq was wiped out when my brother was president. There were mistakes made in Iraq for sure. But the surge created a fragile but stable Iraq that the president could have built on, and it would have not allowed ISIS or ISIL, depending on your view. I like ISIS just because I'd like to contain it and shrink it so it gets to ISI and then gone, instead of ISIL that describes the Levant, or IS the way they describe themselves, which is global. I mean, we should be creating a strategy, which we don't have. There is no strategy to this. We're just taking, we're tactical right now. There's no strategic imperative to take them out, and restore some stability in Iraq, and even, much more complicated in Syria. We have to do this in partnership with other countries. But to suggest that somehow, that decision wasn't was a good decision to pull back, to mirror popular sentiment. This is what leaders don't do. Politicians do this, if you think about it. We're always given the chance to say, well, whether it's, and I'll get to Common Cause, that's a good example of this, where people had a view and now they don't because popular sentiment in the here and now has a particular view, and my gosh, you don't want to get in front of someone who's angry. Rather than trying to persuade them of your view, you just kind of mirror theirs. Well, that's what the president did when he left Iraq, and I think it was wrong. And now you think about the family members who lost our blood and treasures in Ramadi, and they won. They won that battle. It was hard fought, and that stability now has been lost. So I totally get the past being an issue. I think the focus now is what strategy do we have to take out ISIS, and how do we deal with the destabilizing effect of Iran, a country we're negotiating with to, at all costs, basically, to negotiate a nuclear deal. What are we going to do to stop their efforts to destabilize the region even more?